The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Red and gold on the edge of the sky, feel the rumble, hear the battle cry. Out in Ames where the storms ignite, we don't back down, we rise and fight. Jack Trice's his name, yeah, it echoes strong. A story of honor still marches on. Through the rain, through the pain, through the fire we roar, 'cause we were built to thrive in the eye of the storm. Feel the ground shake, hear the crowd roar. Cyclone power, can't take no more. Legends rise, this is our norm. We stand tall in the eye of the storm. There's a cyclone blowing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Trice shakes when the team takes flight. Milton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. Feel the magic you can't deny. Marcus Stars are taking off straight to the sky. Brick, big play, Kirby making history. When the moment gets tough, that's the cyclone way. Through the trenches, through the lane, through the heat, through the rain. When the storm comes rolling, we embrace the fight. 'Cause the cyclones strike when the time is right. Feel the cyclones strike when the time.
All right, welcome back to The Side of the Storm, where we talk all things cyclones. We are live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company out of Osceola, Iowa, and also our newest sponsor for all of the Three Beards media platforms. It's Styled by JJ Boutique. I'm Dave Larson here with my Storm Team partner and Cyclone great, the legend himself, Marcus Pfizer. Happy Sunday, Marcus. How are you?
Doing well, Dave. How about yourself, man?
I've been packing all day. I'm working myself up for a work trip that I leave for Houston, of all places. And we have to say, Mr. Curvey may join us. He's coaching his son's football team tonight in a highly touted matchup, so he didn't want to miss that. So maybe he'll hop on here late, maybe not. But nonetheless,
Houston, what's going on in Houston?
I've got some work meetings to go to, so I'll be heading down there tomorrow afternoon, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I've been to Houston once, one other trip, and so I was hoping Brent would be on to maybe give me some tricks and some places to visit while I'm down there. I've got a real short window where I might be able to grab a dinner Monday evening, and then we'll see maybe Wednesday. I'm hoping to take in a Rockets game. I looked at their schedule. They've got their exhibition game on Wednesday night against the Jazz. Of course, George Niang is back with Utah, so may try to get some nosebleed tickets for $6 and hang my Iowa State flag up to see if George sees me, and maybe get down there on the, sometimes those exhibition games, I don't know that they're as well attended as a regular season game. So
they're not, but I mean, they should be able to have really good tickets for not a lot, but I mean, George should have tickets as well if he's there and playing.
What, you think I could just call George Niang up and he'll give me some ticks, or?
I'll shoot him a message. I'll shoot him a message and see if I can get him to respond and let him know and see what I can make happen for you.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I've already got my flag packed in my bag. I'm ready to go. Which, before we get into the game, I don't know that we were that anxious, but how long does it take for Marcus Pfizer to pack for a 4-day trip? If you're flying out of town for a trip, how long does it take for you to pack?
Not long. I mean, I'm not I'm not at this stage in my life. Like whenever I travel, whatever I go to do what I'm gonna do, and then like getting back, I don't. It's not like I'm packing anymore to hang out in clubs. I gotta wear certain outfits. I'm not, trying to impress the girls or anything like that. So it's a fairly easy pack. Maybe the
So
whole trip.
one shirt, one pair of shoes now?
I know. I mean, it depends on how many days or so, but I always tend to overpack wherever I'm going because, I don't do a lot of things, especially when I go back home to my parents' place. I had one of my cousins tell me last time, man, you at home this time, like you can't be up to your mama house just laying down and just resting all the whole time. I said, watch me. Because I'm not doing hardly anything. So
Well, she
it's
doesn't
hard to
have you
say.
working and painting and hanging up things and just sort of Marcus
Nah, nah,
to-do lists for you.
that's what the little brothers are for. I done
Oh,
paid my dues for that.
that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm heading down to Houston tomorrow. I'll be back super late Thursday night. I think
Oh yeah.
literally the flight comes in about 10:30. So by the time I get
Oh,
in the car and
that's
get
it.
home, probably won't be until 11:30. But who knows how that trip's going to go with the government shut down. And I'm sure the TSA agents are anxious to help out passengers when they're not being paid for the time being, which totally
Right.
sucks for them. Oh,
Yeah, we've been seeing some things on the news here at what is it called now? Harry Reid. People still say
mhm.
McCarran, but Harry Reid Airport a lot of the TSA, which is understandably so. But we appreciate them for whatever they can help with, and you just try to make it as easy as possible for yourself as well.
Well, should we get to the inevitable? Cyclones lose one to Houston. Really
Yeah,
started out ugly. We're texting each other back and forth, going, is the pain going to end? And we had to come back in the second half, really towards
yeah,
the end of the half, that second quarter. It was ugly. I mean, down at one point 31-7. It felt like we could move the ball. We just couldn't capitalize defensively. Missing those two defensive backs, John Tez Williams and Jeremiah Cooper, really has been hurting and did hurt that game. The lack of ability to kick a field goal, another crushing blow. Chase Smith in the second quarter did attempt a 35-yarder, push it wide right. Now, I felt like he kicked it solid,
hmm
and his
just
field goal
missed.
or his extra point kicks were solid. He just flat out missed that 35-yarder. We've got to be able to kick the ball if we're going to see any success the remainder of this year. That changes the dynamics on the offense so much. Where we went from a few games ago being able to basically kick it from midfield to
Right.
we're afraid to kick it from the 20-25 yard line, and we're constantly going for it on fourth down. That changes the
It
dynamics of that
does.
offense so much.
Yeah, it does. And it just felt like one of those games that no matter what we did good, it just seems like one of those ones that we weren't going to be able to, grasp a hold to. Saturday morning, it always starts off pretty much the same for me and my kids. Dad is going to get out and go to the grocery store, get some things, and start making breakfast for them because I'm in the kitchen while the games are on because it's pretty much early here. Cleaning the kitchen and getting all excuse me situated. But last Saturday it was a little off because I'm focusing most of the time I can focus on the game. We're ahead or whatever, or you hear the crowd roar and you pay attention to see what's going on. And we text, man, pretty much the whole time I'm laying across the island on the phone texting, looking directly at the TV, trying to wheel some get plays in and things like that. But it just never seemed to happen, enough to get the victory. And you take your hats off to Cincinnati. They played extremely hard. We knew they were going to play hard. We spoke before on the pod about how that was a game that we kind of feared, and playing a top 15 team, they came out wanting it a little bit better than we did.
When was the last time, and I'm sure there's someone listening or watching When was the last time that a school rushed the field against us at the end of the game
Mm,
because they beat the Cyclones? I can't say that I've seen that happen in quite some time, which probably tells you a lot about
yeah.
the respect that others in the Big 12 now have for Iowa State when we come to their place.
Yeah, that's big time. And for us to consistently, be a program that's in the top 20 as of late, top 15 as much as, in the low in the high, single digits in the rankings in the last couple of years, that says a lot for the coaching staff and the program and, from the top to bottom. So you definitely don't want to see the storming of the field, for multiple reasons. Guys get injured and all that different crazy stuff. But if they're storming the field against you, then you probably lost. So you don't want to see that happening either. But it's an early loss for us. Hopefully, we can focus on the things. Again, Cincinnati is not a slouch. They came out and played extremely well. It wasn't a terrible game. We couldn't get the stops that we needed with our guys that we have out. Guys are banged up and everything like that. So hopefully, we can get some rest this week and capitalize on the next game.
Well, you're right. When we had talked and Brent and I went through sort of a win-loss record for the season, and this was the game that I had circled that I had some concerns with going out there. Their rushing attack, which they had over 200 yards rushing. Sorgi is a talented quarterback, can sling it or run it. Smart, heady player, and sure enough, it ended up being that way, and ended up being the L. You know, we've got a lot of things going against us, and that was really before we, at the beginning of the year, before we knew that we would lose not one but two kickers, not one but two all Big 12 caliber cornerbacks. I mean, that has a big effect on your total offense and on your defense on that back end. And then when Cincinnati's just been able to do what they want, they had long passing plays. They had that 82 yarder in the fourth quarter. They just hit a lot of holes. We're going up against Tyson Veit, who former coach on the defensive side for Iowa State. He's now the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati. It felt like he's trying to do some of the similar things. I looked at as we were running in the ball, and Sama was hitting some holes, and Carson Hansen, before he went out with a concussion, it felt like we were going up against our own defense. And some of the message boards, Cincinnati fans have been frustrated with how far back their defensive backs play after the receivers, much some of the same complaints that we've been having over the years. That when I say we, Cyclone Nation, and some of the message boards that we see too. So it felt like it was just us playing ourselves.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati, they came out and we didn't have an answer for much of that game. Now, granted, we got that that late touchdown with no time left in the second quarter before halftime, and then had the 2-point conversion, which was huge, and then had the ball coming back in the second half, which I thought, okay, we've got a chance. It just felt like we were coming from behind, and that takes a lot of energy to try to have to come back from, and puts a lot of pressure on it, which I give it to the Cyclones. They almost did. Cincinnati left that door open, and we did have a chance towards the end. It was the little things.
Yeah.
Coach Campbell talks about winning in the margins. We did not win in the margins. You look at the penalties. There were something like 20, 21 penalties between both teams, and that was one thing that just, you can understand getting a penalty here and there, but our penalties seemed to come at times where it just debilitated us, whether it was a defensive penalty or an offensive penalty where you had a chance to get a first down, and now we're backed up and it's second or third and long.
Yeah, Rocco is great enough to. It's so great that he's going to make big plays and keep us in it. We understand that our kicking game is injured, for lack of better words, right now, to where even the times where he does put us in positions to where, okay, maybe we can get 3 on the board, or 6 on the board, or 9 on the board. Now, we're missing those opportunities. And then, on the defensive side, losing the 2 DBs and, having younger guys or new guys that's coming in that necessarily aren't the starters trying to make up for that. Those are big gaping holes that we didn't expect. And, it seemed like Cincinnati is going to capitalize on it. And, once you get that snowball effect happens of, teams have momentum and you trying to stop them and things are not working, it's really disheartening that you can't get a stop. You always, like you said, you're playing from behind. So you're exerting a lot of energy. And it's just one of those games. It just seems like no matter what you score, you get a little bit closer and then, something breaks down again. So we understand, pretty much the root cause of it. Don't like it, but it's just the nature of the beast of the game.
Well, and the irony is we won the time of possession. We won the turnover battle. Now, granted, there's just the one turnover, the fumble, that I thought, okay, here we go. Cyclones are going to convert and trade this in for a touchdown. It just didn't work out that way. Usually, if you win those two metrics, you win the game. If you had told me we would have won those two metrics, Rocco throws for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sama rushes for close to 100 yards. I would have thought we would have won that game.
Yeah, it's the defensive end. I mean, we were watching. My wife were watching some of the games earlier. I think it's a Raiders game. Just seeing how, Gino is putting them in positions to try to score and things like that. But I mean, if you can't stop, the opposing team and they're just racking up the points, then you're trying to play from behind. The O-line is not doing the best of a job. Balls are getting batted down, or now he's skittish about where to throw the passes and things of that nature. So there's a lot that goes along with it. You try to manage it as best as you can, but like you called it early before the season started, you felt like that was going to be one of the tough games. And it turned out to be a great veteran team.
So that Raiders Colts game, Mark Sanchez was not on the call, was he? Because he got arrested.
He's still in the hospital.
He is, okay. Did they reference it at all during the game?
They spoke about when he first came on. They said, thinking about everyone that's involved in everything that happened, and prayers and everything that goes out to him. But what has come down is they said that like he was the aggressor and he attacked. It was a 69-year-old delivery driver, and the delivery driver said that he was kept trying to get in. They have video and everything. He said he kept trying to get into the vehicle, telling him he couldn't park there, or whatever, and a fight ensued. And the dude said he thought he was trying to kill him, and he just happened to have a weapon and stabbed him a few times, or whatever, and that was it, I guess. But gratefully, nothing fatal occurred. It's a lot of big stuff that's going to come down behind this, of course, being who he is and who he works for and all of that. So just hope everything works out.
Yeah, it sounds like a scary situation, but one that he probably sounds like maybe provoked himself, and he sounds fortunate to have been able to walk away. And it's pretty embarrassing when you're a high figure, you're highly visible figure like that, and have something like that happen, and you're something that you did to yourself. That's just crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to speculate, but you would assume that time of night, bars or things like that, there could be some alcohol or something like that involved. But like you said, he's incredibly fortunate. They said that he was stabbed a few times. So, I know he's probably sober if alcohol was a part of it now, and thinking to himself, man, what the hell was I doing?
All right, so now the Cyclones, here's the problem. I went and looked at the standings, and Texas Tech and Cincinnati.
Texas Tech scares me, man.
Yeah, well, so, of course, Cincinnati really has a 2-game lead over the Cyclones with the win. And Texas Tech and Cincinnati are both undefeated, and I think BYU and Arizona State are the other undefeateds. The problem is, of course, we play both BYU and Arizona State, so we would have a chance to beat them and have the tiebreaker over. The issue is that if Cincinnati and Texas Tech both run the table, they don't play each other. Mm-hmm. So there is a way for both of those teams to make the Big 12 championship game, leaving us out. So we're really going to have to hope that one or both of those teams lose, and Cincinnati loses twice due to tiebreakers. And then we have to hope that some of the other teams that we are currently tied with in the Big 12 standings also lose, or the
That we
tiebreakers
still
all
win.
shake out that allows us to
Yeah.
get in. Remember last year there were 4 teams that all tied for the league lead.
Hmm.
We were due to tiebreakers, it was us and Arizona State that got in, and it was BYU and Colorado that were on the outside looking in. So
Right.
we've got some work to do if we think that we're going to have a chance to get in. We've got to win out, and then looks like have some luck along the way and have some other teams lose.
Yeah. If I would say anything, I would think Cincinnati will be the team that could possibly lose. The number of games that we're looking for. Like I said, Texas Tech really scares me. I watched that game yesterday. I was like, these guys are really good. BYU is always a wild card. So
They really haven't played anybody. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, but they're
convinced.
always that wild card to where they don't play anyone, but they're still good enough to, like, damn, they don't played anyone, but we still lost to them. So it's like one of those things. It's going to be a tough
They have
game.
that quarterback with that funky number, like 47 or something like
Yeah,
that.
ain't he like 247 or something like that? Yeah, and he's a big guy, hard to get down. He could throw it, he could run it. They bringing him out of the backfield like Kalen Proctor now. So
All right,
you never know what's going on.
you guys texted that. I wish I would have seen it. What? Tell me more. You said Taylor. It sounded like Proctor got a chance. Of course, a week ago we saw him take that pass.
A week ago he caught a pass. Yesterday they handed it to him out of the backfield, and he rushed like he was down in the stands and everything.
How far did he get?
Probably about 2 yards or so, whatever. I mean, because he don't know how to hit the gap like he possibly should or whatever. And we know the kid is athletic, but he just, once he hit the back of the O-line and all that, he was just falling on guys and just pushing, So I guess he had a good time. They spun him around and everything, and the guys was hitting at the ball. But he got a couple yards.
Wow, I wish I would have seen that one. So it sounds like he basically pulled a refrigerator Perry from back in the day, huh?
Not quite. Like the refrigerator Perry knew how to hit the hole and knew where he was going. I can see him possibly doing that and being that one day. Like if they hone it, they don't necessarily do it like that anymore or whatever. But he can definitely be that type of player if they wanted him to. But at this level, they're not going to experiment with it too much.
And I bet he's probably 350. Yeah, he's a big guy.
They say he's 348, like 6'7", 348.
To be able to have soft enough hands that you can trust to catch the ball
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to run with it, that's pretty remarkable to be that big and to have that skill set.
Well, it's kind of like Shaq. Like Shaq was, they had Shaq at 315, 320. Shaq was every bit of 350 plus. I mean, I'm talking about prime Shaq. After some years and got older, of course he is pushing 4 bills and above. But he was really, really way more athletic than what it seemed. His hands and everything like that, but you would never necessarily think that. And Kalen the same way.
All right, so I looked at the schedule. Of course, we play this Saturday against Colorado, an ESPN game at 2:30. So we're going to have a lot of eyes on this game, and I'm sure it helps having Deion Sanders as the head coach of the Buffaloes. It helps having Iowa State at that time when the game was announced was 14 potential to move up into top 10. Of course, we've dropped back to number 22 in this week's poll. So 2:30 kickoff against Colorado. Colorado 2-4 coming into this game, 0-3 in the Big 12. They look pretty good. Offensively, they're up and down. They've got Salter now. I think that they're focusing on him as being the lead quarterback, but they played 3 different quarterbacks this year. Mm-hmm. And Salter was the transfer from Liberty. That they were up 14-0 against TCU before they just fell apart and lost. That TCU quarterback, Josh Hoover, is really talented. He had like 4 touchdown passes and rushed for another one. So really talented team, TCU. Colorado. So we had our block party this weekend. So we're all sitting there in front of the TV, and I projected the 4 quad box up on the garage.
Mhm.
So it was like having a big screen TV, and they looked pretty good for a while, Colorado, before they fell apart. What are your thoughts? I mean, I've never, and I think I shared this, and Brent has too, going into a high altitude environment, and you remember as a player,
Right.
right, going into Denver, it's just, it does something to you physically. What's that adjustment like for these players to go into altitude? How long does it take? Do you go in early, or do you just try to show up in time for the game and get out and play before the adjustment occurs? What's your take on playing at that
Well,
altitude?
well, we played in Boulder too. Because Colorado was in the Big 12 back when I
Hmm.
was in
Oh,
school.
okay.
So I mean, we will always go typically a day and a half early in some place, but Colorado we went maybe 2 days before. The first day was a hard practice, just running practice, just mainly getting out and run. Not even no X and O's things. Just I'm talking about lungs burning, just getting out, 5-man weave, up and down, up and down. Not many stops, 7, 8, up and downs in a row. Not many stops, not stopping the ball, that type thing. So where it was like you almost felt like you had like a chest cold or something after that practice, and then you get food and you go back to the hotel, rest, get some sleep. The next day, it was more of a, kind of a mix, more on the X's and O's. Then the day before the game, it was more of just a walkthrough, type thing, getting shots up or whatever. And then, hope for the best or whatever uh, you put out there on the floor. In terms of the NBA, you was in the night before, and whatever you get is what you're gonna get. At that level, they want you to be in enough shape to where it shouldn't matter anyways. But you always were affected by it, and anyone who said that they wasn't, they must have had like some kind of oxygen tanks for lungs or something, because it does affect you for sure.
I was in Denver for a conference. It's probably been 12, 15 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
just walking up the stairs, I thought, what is going on? So, how long, as an NBA player, if you went in the day before, or the day of a game, before like a night game, how long did it take you? 6 hours to adjust, a day? I mean, you're a top-notch athlete. So what was your adjustment like at that level versus college
Well,
kids and like your linemen? How long
right.
is it going to take for them to adjust?
Well, pretty much like in NBA, when you go into a city to play a team, you're not going to practice. I mean, it's just going there. The next day is going to be the shoot around before the game, so you may have a harder, getting after it type shoot around type thing, moving and getting in a nicer sweat than normal, or would you would somewhere else. But I mean, at that point, like you really you just got to push through it. It's just one game. It's going to be over before you know it. There's so many games in the NBA that you don't want to necessarily think, oh, okay, well, if we lose this game, we lose this game. But a lot of teams feel like, well, we lose this one, we just lose that one, and move on to the next one. So the dynamic of it all is really weird, but you just got to try to do the best you can. But it doesn't take super long. If you was there, 3 or 4 days or something like that, then you'll be acclimated to it. But that initial is really hard.
So my question for this game is, ironically, I'm attending a wedding that starts here at 4 o'clock, 2:30 kickoff Central Time, 1:30 what Mountain Time. I've already asked the bride if there's a chance that she can adjust the timing of the wedding, and that's not happening, unfortunately. So, uh, my question, do I bring my phone in and put it on silent and watch the game during the wedding, or do I just suck it up and wait until I get home to watch it?
I mean, I don't want this to be online, me giving you advice or whatever, but some Sundays, when we go to church, things like that, I do have my earpiece and my phone like in my pocket, listening to a game that I may really want to hear. So possibly you can do that, or before everything, the festivities and all that start, as much as you can get in possibly, and then put it away. So it's totally up to you. Just don't have like on the full headphones.
Yeah, I don't want to bring these in, right? Yeah.
All right. You really not, incognito with those on.
Thoughts on this game then? How do you see this playing out? I guess my concern is we've seen the Colorado team play. They're really up and down defensively. I think the Cyclones can pour some points out there. It's Colorado's offense I really question. If they're on, I think they can do some damage against this defense. I just don't know if they can sustain it for 4 quarters. Plus, there's some news today that Deion is going to see a specialist this week with some potential blood clots in his legs, which sounds pretty scary. But at the same time, I mean, it's something that I think he's monitoring, and I would not expect him to miss. But I guess there is a chance that could happen.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, and he said that it kind of feels like, that's what's going on. So he's definitely been monitoring that. I also saw that when you have that type of surgery that he has, one of the things that commonly happen is you tend to have like blood clots and things of that nature. So, we'll see. We know, the kind of guy he is, his whole demeanor, and, they will probably pretty much have to lock him in the hospitals to stop him from being there. But I think our program at this point is better. I think definitely Rocco, we have the best quarterback of the 2 programs. So I think he's gonna go out and be able to pick this team apart. We can get out early and put some big points up and be stronger than them on defense. Knock a little will out of them. Then maybe we won't have to worry about going the whole 4 quarters and worry about the end of the game. So I think we're definitely going to get the win. It's going to be hard in the beginning because of everything with altitude, but it should be a dub.
All right, we'll come back and talk a little bit more about Colorado on the other side. Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
Whether you're fueling up for a big game day bash,
tailgating this weekend.
Yeah, what can I get you?
Big one. Give me a dozen jalapeno sausages and 6 each of the sausage and bacon.
Sweet. All right, we'll get your order right up.
or just trying to survive last night's party.
Bro.
What's up? Can I get you?
What do you got?
What do we don't got, man? We got big plate, sausage, bacon, egg, and cheese. We got the sausage, the jalapeno sausage is good.
One of everything, man. Give me one of everything.
It doesn't matter what kind of hungry you are, party hungry, hangover hungry, or just regular old hungry, Coach's Kolaches is ready to save the day, one delicious bite at a time. No one does it better than Coach. At Coach's Kolaches, it's all about the craft. Every kolache starts fresh, rolled by hand, packed with flavor, and stamped with a little extra love from Coach himself. No shortcuts, no substitutes, just real deal game-winning goodness. And if you're feeling a little sweet, we've got you covered there too, with hot, fresh cinnamon rolls and juicy made-from-scratch fruit kolaches that'll have you coming back for seconds and thirds. Swing by and taste the tradition at Coach's Kolaches, right off Hickman and 100th Street at 2700 100th Street in Urbandale, or call ahead at 515-802-6200. Whatever the game plan, start it with Coach's Kolaches.
All right, we are back to In the Side of the Storm. That's right, Urbandale. Hey, are you coming back soon? Because we've kind of flirted with the idea of you coming back in, doing a live pod, and this week would be great because I actually am, I've got an anniversary coming up. So I'm probably going to go to Coach's Kolaches Saturday morning, and I may end up at Style by JJ's Boutique to do a little shopping.
Oh, well.
Huh?
No,
We can stop down to Revelton.
I don't think this weekend would necessarily work. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
All right, so Colorado. Why do we win this game? And let me give you some thoughts. So, a lot of times, as the saying goes, that your biggest improvement is between week 1 and week 2. If we want to think about this last game against Cincinnati is really week 1 without your top 2 defensive backs. Week 2, which is now against Colorado, we may see a lot of improvement with that defensive backfield just because now that John Heacock has sort of seen these kids in game action, the guys themselves have seen the different speeds that are out there and what to expect. Can we expect a little bit of a reset here where we see, similar to early in the year, that change in game 1 and game 2, where we see that difference in that defense now that we go up with this new crew against Colorado?
Hopefully. I think the Cincinnati team was a little too athletic. Cincinnati basketball, football, whatever it is, they always get crazy athletes. And I think their athletes were a lot better than the athletes that Colorado currently have. We made some good adjustments throughout to keep it close. End up faltering by 8 points. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like it was early on, but I'm sure a lot of film, a lot of studying of what went wrong, a lot of game prepping for, what Colorado has, and I think we're gonna, bounce back from it.
All right. Well, one thing we do need is a kicker, though. And I hope that Chase Smith has an opportunity this week to really come out and solid. I felt bad that he missed that 35-yarder, and it felt like I hope we're not impeding on his progress as a kicker. And, that could be a little bit demoralizing where you miss that kick and you don't have a chance to come in and fix it, right? And to be able to show your team, hey, I can be there for you. That I hope he has a good week in practice and he has that opportunity. And you know how altitude does with balls of any type. I mean, maybe he comes in and has a good week of practice and we see a different Chase Smith against Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, backing up what he had to back up, that's already pressure enough. After seeing, them there 70-yarder go in and like, okay, so now this guy's hurt. I got to come in and follow this up. That's a lot of pressure. But, like you said, hopefully he had a good week in practice. Practice really, builds your confidence, reps, things of that nature. I really don't know how they, practice against, things like, I guess, whatever the normal of the win is, or if they got different things that they do inside the dome to, account for, wind or noise and all of that. I really don't know. But that'd be cool to even find out to know. But hopefully he gets opportunity, to continue to get better.
I think the Cyclones are in their cranking up the AC and blowing the fans a little bit extra hard to simulate that outdoor
Well, I've
atmosphere?
seen things like that done before for sure.
Well,
Yeah, and pumping music into the arena,
hear
just
that.
loud noise, and Coach Stacy used to do that all the time. It never bothered me because I never really paid attention. Like I've always had a good thing of being able to block that out. He said I used to always, block him out along with it. But I'm gonna say, if you're making a lot of noise, you're making a lot of noise. It doesn't matter who you are.
All right, I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, Marcus. Not related necessarily. This is some different questions. So, do you know who Kara Goucher is?
No.
Okay, so she is a runner, elite runner, half marathoner, ran some marathons, Olympic. She was an Olympian, very talented, and she recently won an Emmy for some NBC broadcast. She's now turned her focus to being an analyst and on television. So a lot of times, if there's different track and field events, she is in the booth as part of the announcing team. So she had posted through social media, and you can see her opening up this package that had come, and it's this big Emmy award that she received in the mail, which I thought, oh, that's kind of a different way to present you with an Emmy. Is there an award or a recognition that you would really love to win?
To win?
Yes, or to be recognized with?
Personally, I think the only thing that I really wanted to win was a hold up the national championship trophy. Like I said, I've always said I saw it early in the season, and I saw it in the magazine, and I said I want that trophy. And throughout the course of winning the Big 12 and Player of the Year and all that, those different trophies, those were good. I was still focused on just that one trophy, not even being a runner up to the Player of the Year. Like that trophy wasn't really things that I was focused on winning a national championship trophy.
Now, you've made reference that a lot of the awards that you've won, you don't even know where they are. What's the coolest award or recognition that you've ever received?
Probably gold medal from the 2001 Goodwill Games. I have no idea what that gold medal is.
Are there any odd? Go ahead.
It's just when I'm always a in the moment guy. I'm not a big reminiscer. Time goes by so fast. I rather focus on the moment. My wife loves watching like old period pieces and the Highlander and Bridgerton and whatever. And as soon as she turned it on, like I leave the room. Like I'm just like old school music and stuff like that. I just can't. I'm definitely a news guy, a live TV guy. Like I'm just always. I like to be relevant in terms of what's going on right now. A lot of people like to not necessarily dwell, but speak about accolades and things that they've done and all that different stuff. And I rented. It's an older guy that's at the local Walmart that I see pretty much every day because I'm in there every single day. And he's seen me for some years and he knows who I am. He's just an older guy, just knows who I am, whatever. And he's always talking to me. And he came up to me like a couple of nights ago, and we was talking sports and things like that. And some other people heard him overhear him saying who I was, and well, when you was doing this, whatever, and then people start coming around and wanting autographs and start taking pictures. Now that had happened for a while because I'm in Vegas. I've been out here, I'm 100 pounds heavier than when I played. It's just not what I'm into or anything like that anymore. But it's just our interaction is just a normal interaction. It's not about I don't walk around with Bulls paraphernalia on or anything like that. It's just I'm just staying in the moment of what's going on today with my children, my family, my businesses and stuff like that, and just progressing forward. But some people are just different, and I'm just a different guy than that.
Hey, looky who we've got here.
Woo.
We have
Woo.
Mr.
Hey,
Gervais.
right.
Welcome, my friend.
What's
We
up,
have
fellas?
sliced
What up, bro?
sliced and diced Colorado. What is your take on the Cincinnati game?
Terrible.
And what are your thoughts on, as we head to Colorado? Marcus gave his insight on playing at altitude. So we're kind of curious from a lineman's perspective. You would have played Colorado in college, right?
Yeah. And
All
Nathan
right.
Crosby
So
as a kicker sucked.
Joel
Yeah, it
Klatt,
was.
your best
Yeah,
friend in the world, Joel Klatt.
right. Take on Cincinnati. I think injuries kind of caught up with us. The moment I just didn't feel like we were. I don't know. It never felt like at any point we were really awake and ready for the game. I feel like too calm and too collected. Like that's okay to be that way, but you still got to know kind of when to turn it on. I just don't feel like we turned it on like we typically do. And they had all the hype in the world. I mean, it was a home game, so we had to,
Wow.
you got to win to win by one type of thing. Having the refs on their side too. And so I was watching something earlier, and the ref and the coach just walking down and talking and kikiing and all this stuff. I'm like, so it was one of those things.
Is it different playing football at 11 a.m. at home versus 11 a.m. at Cincinnati? I mean, that travel schedule already messes you up. Does that impact you as a player to play that early on the road versus at home?
No, I don't think so. It's one of the same. I mean, because believe me, now there's way more studies that have been done. Say, hey, you need X amount of hours of rest and this and that, and I guarantee you, they're following that wave. No, I mean 11 anywhere. It's a game, so early game, your body's already. They should be, somewhat used to it anyway. But it doesn't
Well, I
matter.
remember you said you like playing the early games anyway. That was your
Just because
preference.
I didn't eat, I was like, yeah. I already couldn't sleep the night before. Didn't really want to eat anything for breakfast because if it was at 11 o'clock, I didn't want nothing on my stomach. Give me a Gatorade fuel bar or something like that, and we just rock it out.
So what are your thoughts on going out to Colorado, playing out there and at altitude?
Yeah, it affects you somewhat. I mean, I think we talked about that probably, but feel like some point last year, the year before, something like that. It affects you a little bit. Colorado doesn't scare me like they did in years past. So whatever. And I think any game coming off a loss like that, the very next one is going to be a step game for them. So I just really anticipate a kind of dialed up, locked in squad being very aggressive. Well, I don't know how much on defense, but they'll be very aggressive in my opinion.
Well, and here's my theory. They always say that the biggest difference or the biggest improvement is between game 1 and game 2.
Yep.
That if you think about it, our defense has sort of reshuffled, especially on that back end between this Cincinnati game and now, if you consider that game 1, and now you consider the Colorado Buffaloes as game 2.
Yep.
Maybe this is the shift that we need, and Coach Heacock will have been able to see these guys under pressure. He'll sort of know what to expect. The players will know what to expect. And, he seems to always put players in the right position and is able to coach them up. I'm wondering if we see that big improvement between Cincinnati and Colorado.
I bet you see, I mean, a guy like Heacock getting the game under his belt, seeing wherever his flaws were, he'll definitely rectify those before next week. So, and I think, the guys that got a lot more playing time, they probably have gotten all year because of the injuries. I think next year that'll help them out quite. Next week will help them out quite.
Yeah, I hope it's next week, not next year. You guys find it interesting that Texas and Penn State, that were pretty much the consensus 1-2 in the polls, are no longer even in the top 25?
That's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, Texas
fell all the way out.
I thought I read that somewhere that they did. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't see them or Penn State in the poll.
yeah, there was too much hype around Texas to start just because of Arch. And I mean, now, you know, it doesn't take much, man. The SEC is way, way too competitive because you're talking about guys that are knocking on the NFL's door. So, Archie's not used to throwing in windows against those guys. You know what I'm saying? Because that window closes really quick, way more athletic. So all of that running around you thought you could do is over with because it's probably a 220-pound DN that's bench pressing your 350-pound lineman and that can run a 4.5. So you ain't going nowhere.
Like,
so
where they come from?
Right.
They're like bees.
Well, and we sort of, we talked about that with Mark Gronowski when we've seen a couple of his games for the University of Iowa. He doesn't want to throw in those tight windows that Rocco's used to it. And I tell you what, I'd much rather have Rocco back than I would Arch Manning at this point. I mean, the difference is night and day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They didn't allow the kid to play until being whatever. His last name is Manning and all of that. So I've been hearing about him since high school, and it seems like it's been 12 years almost how long they've been talking about him. But again, like now he's a junior, right? Isn't he a junior? Sophomore?
Red shirt sophomore?
Did he red shirt? I didn't know he red shirt.
I think he did. Because
those new rules, you can play up to 4 games and still retain that red shirt. So I think you're right, Brent.
Okay, so but he's been around long enough, to have learned some things, and he played behind yours the last couple of years. But now when you have the spotlight on you, University of Texas, that conference, kill or be killed.
Well, Marcus, you were talking before we jumped on too that you sort of saw the writing when Arch came in, and he was not. Ewers is still the quarterback, right? He was still QB1.
Right, and that was big to me. I mean, maybe his freshman year, but even what year did he redshirt? Because of maybe we put him on the shelf still for another year to be able to set him back whatever a little time. But I mean, if he's that, you have 5 stars. What they had him at 7, 8 star. He was, they just. I mean, I was, and I saw him a couple of times. The last couple of years, and I was like, we've seen some quarterbacks that just completely, light it up. But I just didn't see it. I would really. I know people are down on the kid from UCLA. I really like him. I would take him over Arch Manning right now, without a doubt.
How did they beat? I am astonished that a team that was winless, that really looked like they couldn't beat a high school team. I say that
they just fired their coach.
But,
yes. Yeah, they did. Yeah,
shocking.
Last week.
Change of schemes, been a lot looser, possibly doing some different things that guys weren't allowed to, with the last coach for whatever reason. And again, the Nico kid is a lot better than what people are, letting on because of the whole Tennessee thing. The kid can really play.
Yeah. I agree 110%, man. He's a baller now. I mean, you talk about a guy who had a multi-million-dollar valuation in high school, and he played good competition. And that, to me, is kind of the difference between Arch and Nico. Arch was in 1A, I think. 1A, maybe 2A in Louisiana playing. So competition is way different. When you're a 5-star guy playing against, maybe a guy that's your size, it's a hell of a
and I'm from Louisiana, from a 1A high school, to where knowing, ultimately, I was a pro or going to be a pro, so my skill level was different than a lot of different high school players. But everybody in single A that we played, we was destroying. But when we played like 4 or 5 A schools, we would lose those games possibly close, but I would have to, do because, I'm 6'8", I'm the starting center. Your 3, 4, and 5 is 6'8", 6, like everywhere you turn is that. So it's a different level. And once you get to the next position, you either gonna figure it out, where I got, Clay Edwards and Tony Rampton blocking my shot every jump hook I try to throw, and now I got to figure this out, or you don't.
Yeah. You needed Brent Curvey as your point guard. You would have gotten the ball a lot.
Boy, what?
It wasn't getting the ball was the problem. It's a higher level, being such a young kid coming in and just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think he'll be fine. He just needs a little bit of time. But, yeah, I mean, right now, definitely take Nico over that guy.
So, expectations for Colorado, Brent. What are your thoughts on Saturday? It's a 2:30 kickoff in Boulder.
Like I said, I think this is given the performance we had, I think this is a statement game for us. Colorado doesn't look, they struggled quite a bit. Last week, I don't even know who they played, but that Salt is getting smacked all around last week.
Well, they played TCU. They were up 14-0 on TCU, and then TCU roared back, and Hoover threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for another, and that was the end of the story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we are who we say we are, and the reality is Rocco wasn't on point until maybe third quarter, I'd say, end of the third quarter. So a lot of those throws we saw him make the week before, he was kind of struggling with, right? So all the behind passes to Sowell, he's crossing. I know it was a third down play or something like that. He threw it behind him. And a lot of those throws he was making, the previous week. So I think having a good Rocco at the helm too next week. They have nothing special. I think they got a little speed, but it's not scary at all.
Marcus had shared, and I think we talked a little bit about when basketball season, when we went to Colorado, from a lineman perspective, what's it like playing at high altitudes, whether it's offensive or defensive line? What was the impact for you? And realistically, what can those players expect? This will really be the first time that they've played since the big, formation of the Big 12, or Colorado since they left the Big 12. So none of these players will have had the chance to play out there.
Yeah, for big guys, we breathing hard anyway because we got to move mountains of men out the way, right? But we only like the short stuff anyway. She's talking 10, 20 yards a pop. We don't want to run too much further than that. But you do feel it, but it's honestly fairly minimal. It's not anything that'll, take you completely off your game. But you feel it just because I just felt like, I was breathing a lot harder, a lot faster. So I felt like I was out of shape, so but they rotate so much. I don't know how much they'll feel it.
That's a valid point. We probably have a little bit more depth on the offensive line than we've ever had. That if they rotate those players out, that will probably be to our advantage on the offensive side. I guess the defensive side, I don't know that we've got that depth.
Yeah.
That would be concerning for me.
Yeah. Well, Big Dom's going to need some help. That's for sure. Because he's, kind of that force, but guys got to step up, man. Next man up is what it is.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier. I'm heading to Houston, to your homeland there, Brent, tomorrow for some work-related meetings. For both of you, with all of your travels, you've been to a lot of cities through athletics and for your kids' sports and all that. What was there a favorite city that you enjoyed going to more than others?
For me, it was Seattle.
Really?
Yeah. Seattle.
What made Seattle so appealing
just
to you?
Emerald City, it rains a lot, real green, clean air. It's the air quality is really, really nice. I used to always get to Seattle. I used to just put my bags down and just hit the street, start walking. Go down, close to the pier. Go, to the mall, different things, different places. But for some reason, it was always Seattle.
How about you, Brent? And you say Houston. I mean,
After being up here for so long, going back, it felt amazing.
Well, and I'm looking forward to because tomorrow's supposed to be like a high of 57 in Des Moines. It's supposed to get cold. In Houston, it's still in the upper 80s.
Yeah.
So I'm going to my weather.
Man, that's a tough one. I don't know why though. I don't know, man. I like anywhere there's water. I don't know. For sports or just personal?
Either or is fine.
Change it.
Because it might be different, right? I mean, you're talking. Hey, I think we'd all like to go to Hawaii. There's no professional teams out there, and we've not that I'm aware of. Brent, you may have played. Was there any tournaments out there that you may have played preseason?
No.
In Hawaii
or Marcus? Yeah.
No, I wish. I know the basketball does that. We weren't moving around like that.
We went to Hawaii my junior year.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess
that's
Orlando.
The easy answer, right?
Orlando was a fun spot for me. Yeah.
Orlando's not bad.
Yeah.
No.
This is more when I played arena ball, but we played in the Magic Stadium. So it was pretty dope. And then seeing
not bad, not like too in Orlando.
And how fast can you pack for a 4-day trip?
We had a saying. He was 15
Marcus
said
ready. He no longer has to worry about dressing differently for the clubs and going out and
it's
all
over
that.
with.
So the dynamics have changed. But how long would it take for you to pack for a 4-day work trip? So you're going down for a conference about, I don't know, restaurant 101 or the next great kolache and how to, I don't know.
15 minutes, man. It don't take
really?
It won't real
for
quick.
4 days?
15 minutes, 4 days. And the reality is if you are going to some sort of conference, you need probably 3 quick outfits to sit in, business casual outfits to sit in those meetings. That's real quick. And then you got 3 or 4 pairs of shorts, socks, drawers, and we out of there. That's it.
That's right. You just keep the short shirt on and change it into shorts.
It's easy. That's easy.
I think my complication, I've got to pack a pair of running shoes. And that's where, like, Marcus, your feet are bigger than mine. I got size 14, so it's not like I can load up on a bunch of shoes. I've got to be very strategic about what I bring, how I pack.
Yeah. I mean,
put the shoes in your backpack.
I just always, I always carry always check a bag in because no matter where I go, I'm taking my pistol with me. We just living in the time of where we living in nowadays. I'm taking my pistol with me so I could check it up under the plane. So I'm always gonna have a bigger bag, a couple pair of shoes, a couple outfits, and just go from there. If I have on a book bag, it may have my laptop and stuff in it. Other than that, like I said, I'm not going for a long time or anything like that. If it's something that I need, then I'll buy there. If it's something I can't find, I probably don't need it. As simple as that. If I'm going to my parents' house, I still got a room at my mom and dad's house, so all my stuff is still there, TV and bed and all that, so I don't have to worry about any of that. So, it just is what it is.
See, that's the thing to do is to have wherever you're going, already have clothes there, so you just jump on a plane and everything's waiting for you.
Yeah, I was looking for a couple pair of my Jordans that I was like, where? And I called my brother, and he was like, yeah, man, them shoes right on the end of the bed. And,
he hasn't touched them yet, huh?
I just left them down there. I forget why I left them down there. For whatever reason,
trophies, probably.
My mom got them somewhere in the living room.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Just a quick shout out to Chris Shipley. You know, we love you. We're thinking about you. Chip's, for those of you who didn't hear, but Chip's mom passed away rather unexpectedly, but semi-expectedly on, I think it was Tuesday morning. He got word, and they had the funeral arrangements made and set up. So he was. I know it's been a long week for him and his family, but Chip, we are thinking of you. And guys, let's cheer on the Cyclones this weekend against a 2:30 kickoff in Boulder. It'll be broadcast on ESPN. Hopefully that the wedding is very brief for me, so I can get back to partaking in the game. And that's it for this evening's show. We'll see everyone next time on Side of the Storm.
Go Cyclone.
Those clones, baby.
When the scene takes flight, Hilton's rocking, hear the magic call. We rise together, we'll never fall. There's a cyclone brewing on the outskirts tonight. Jack Trice shakes when the team takes flight. Hilton's rocking, hear the magic call.